that this is a remarkable community that's 35 years old, and you don't look a day over 20, I must say. We are very lucky to be here, I think. If you look at where we've come from, I mean, I know the early years of this church, they moved a lot, and now we have a very wonderful permanent home that is afforded to us because we have enough community to create this, the financial and the emotional and the love and the whatever it takes to create something like this building. But not only this building, but just all the things that happen. What I'd like to talk to you about today is something that's been becoming for me for a long time, which is this idea of having an open heart. The power of love is more than simply setting the conditions for your own happiness in close proximity, but you could do it at a distance as well. You can do this if you practice opening your heart. But you can't do it if you're judging at the same time. This idea of just radiance of love and acceptance. This idea that you radiate love and acceptance instead of your thought system, your preferences, your predispositions, your likes and dislikes. You can radiate those. How many of you are aware of the peripheral vision at this moment? This peripheral vision means when you're aware as much as, say, where my hands are, when you're that wide in your peripheral vision, you have stopped this narrowing focus of your eyes. Along with that, for me at least, stopping the narrowing focus of my eyes cuts off that judgmental aspect as well. The one that discerns like, dislike, more, less, that thing. And if you just practice with your eyes to be in broad awareness, not but this, you begin to open essentially energetically to this idea that you could love in 360. That this visual experience where you begin to stop being a focusing person and become awareness or sight without self. Does that make sense? Or less yourself. You're not so tightly packed in here as to my preferences. Because if you think about how you discern that you are a self, is it's what I like and don't like, how I pay attention, what I'm on, and it's this I thing that takes the presence that you really are down to a small and narrow thing. And when it takes it down to a small and narrow thing, then it can become preoccupied with your thoughts of like, dislike, more or less. If you extend your vision, you begin to extend your field as well. You begin to extend what you're aware of and how you are in that world. You cease to be an I, and you become part of where you are. Does that make sense? You're part, now you are like a tree in the forest rather than like a hawk, if that makes sense. And now that you're beginning to open in that way, then if you add your heart to it, then the whole thing becomes a connection with all that is, at least in your field of view. You become at one with that, and you cease to be focused on the narrow preferences of your I thought, and you become more at one with everything. Unconditional love means loving everywhere, all the time. Anybody, everything, the tree, the house, the night, the stand, the person in front of you, the person behind you, the one you see, the one you don't see, the words that sound good to you and the ones that don't. Just love. But if you're in a state of unconditional love and acceptance, you begin to throw that same light of unconditional love and acceptance back on yourself. And the more you have come to love and accept yourself, the easier it is to project it on your enemy as well. Because they cease to be different than you, they become you. They are you. The same, you're the same, they're the same, we're all the same. That's the game of acceptance. This is what the atmosphere we have created here is. That we love and accept people as they are, to the limits of our ability at the time. And when we do, they have the freedom to love and accept themselves, and essentially to stop projecting it off onto someone else or hiding that failure of their own being from themselves. They have that sense that they are accepted here, which allows more of that love to escape and float out into the room, which amplifies itself in us, and then we feed it back to them, and it becomes a positive feedback loop that you can get here and you may not be able to get many places in your life. Here is a place where we practice love every single Sunday. We spend a little time every single Sunday, at least a little time, on our hearts. And this practice of opening your heart is a practice of Christian awakening, a becoming the Christ presence. As we build this community in love and acceptance, that when someone walks into here, they go, I'm stupid for life again. I'm happy. I'm just happy. I don't know why. I don't have to have an object. I'm just happy. I'm just at peace. I'm just loving. So you may not be so bold as to love your enemies, but you may begin to love everything you see. Just love everything you see.